Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I'm sharing 5 favorite products from 5 of my favorite brands. I believe Michele Wang was the first to do this video. I'll link her video down below if you haven't seen it. She's doing kind of a series on this right now, but several others have done this and I thought, it is kind of a fun video idea. I have a lot of favorite brands, so I'm just starting with these 5. It doesn't mean that these are my top 5 favorite brands. They're just 5 of my favorite brands. I'm going to start with Tarte because when I think of products that have just kind of stuck around for a long time, they come to mind, and I have a few of those in here, but I have some new products I'm just in love with as well. They're Amazonian Clay 12-hour blushes. This formula is just one of the best out there. I talk high-end and drugstore and luxury here on my channel, and for the price, I just think you get such a great formula with their blushes, and they have such a wide variety of shades, and these last forever on the skin. And when I think of no-fail blushes that are easy to wear and that are great for hot and humid weather, which is where I live because they last a long time, these always come to mind. Now, I thought about picking one shade for each of my product types in this video. I did that a couple of times, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult because my shade favorites change depending on the season and my mood. So I do have 4 here that I think are great options among the many great options that they have. So I have 2 neutrals here. This is exposed. It's just the perfect neutral. And then this is party. This is the mini, but they do have a full size. This is also a great face brightening neutral. And if you want a browner nude neutral, this is sensual, and captivating is perfect for that spring summer bright peach shade. I feel like eyeshadow palettes are a strong suit for Tarte. They do a really great job of creating nice wearable eyeshadow palettes that have good quality, especially for the price. It was difficult for me to choose just one, but in the end, I did go with Tartelette in Bloom. I have a few I could have chosen. I know there's probably a couple that you're thinking, I can't believe she didn't choose that. But in the end, when I'm thinking about just a versatile type of palette that has really stood the test of time for me, this comes to mind. It's got warm tones, it's got cooler tones and neutral tones. This is what I have on my eyes today. I just pulled from this row, and I did use this shade right here as a transition. I feel like usually when I wear this, you guys see me do a warmer look, but I just wanted to go with a cooler neutral look today. There's a reason why this is constantly a bestseller. It's just a great, reliable palette. The Tarte Sea Breezy Cream Bronzer is one of my favorite cream products of all time, not just from Tarte. It's so easy just to dip your brush in it and apply it to your face, and it blends out beautifully. It lasts a long time, especially for a cream product on combination oily skin like mine. It never looks cakey. It's just a beautiful, buildable, blendable formula. And just as a side note, their brush that they have to go along with it, I think this is still available. I'm going to link everything in this video down below in the description box. It's a great brush. I use it for other cream bronzers too. I struggle with a lot of stick foundations, but this one from Tarte is one that has been really reliable for me. For some reason, a lot of them just cling to certain areas of the skin in a weird way, or they wear off during the day also in a weird way, or they make me too shiny too quickly. And this one just works really beautifully. It looks really yellow in the stick, but it does blend out and look nice and even on the skin. I've tried a lot of popular, more well-known stick foundations, and they just didn't do it for me. I hope this is still in existence. If it is, I'll link it for you with everything else. But if you have oily combination skin and you kind of struggle, you may want to give this one a try. It doesn't emphasize any surface dehydration I have either, because I do get some surface dehydration, and it applies beautifully. It gives me nice medium coverage without looking like I have a lot of foundation on, and it wears well throughout the day. I can't ask for much more than that. And finally, the new Breezy Cream Blush. I have the shade Peach Sunset. It doesn't look super peach. It's more of a subtle coral peachy tone. I mean, this is just, I think, such a pretty shade. I'm gonna end up with so many swatches on my hand. I mean, look how pretty that is and how easily it just glided onto the skin. Again, this just makes getting ready so easy because I just dip my brush in it and dab it onto my cheeks. It blends out beautifully, it sets down and doesn't remain sticky, and it lasts throughout the day. The under eye corrector would be in this video because it is one of my top favorites, but I think they're discontinuing it. I can't find the shade that I wear anymore, so for that reason it's not in here. But just know that if it was available, if I didn't think it was being discontinued, that would be one of these products. The next brand that I'm going to share with you is Dior. I know some of you are going to know a couple of the products that I'm going to mention right off the bat. And I do want to say that it just so happens that the brands that I'm mentioning in this video are all available from Sephora. I didn't mean to theme this video. These were just the ones that I pulled. If you want me to do drugstore for my next one, I can. If you want me to do a different retailer or do a mixture of high-end and drugstore, I can do that too. Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, that's going to depend on if you like the video at all. If you do, give it a thumbs up and I'll do a part 2. So this first Dior product is the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. I talk about this a ton. It's gorgeous for any skin type. A lot of makeup artists use this in their kits because it is so versatile. I am holding 2 because I kind of fluctuate depending on the time of year. I have 2.5 in and 2 in. My foundation shades are linked in the description box below. If you think we might be match twins, you can reference that and my concealer match list down below. When you apply this to the skin, it just meshes with the skin in this weird way, yet covers. It doesn't seem like it should give you the coverage that it does, yet you can take it from light sheer coverage all the way almost to medium full, and it still looks like skin. And it takes on the finish of whatever primer you use underneath it beautifully. So it's just truly a versatile foundation and one that I just will probably keep in my life forever. This is a top product for me, not just from Dior, in my life. As is the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. This is one of my top concealers. I use it all the time. Dior just does a great job of having products that look like skin. I enjoy applying most of my concealers with a sponge, a dampened sponge, and I'll do that with this sometimes, but most of the time I really like blending this out with my finger. It meshes with the skin in such a beautiful way. It just adheres to the skin when I tap it out with my finger. I would say it gives light to medium, up to medium full coverage depending on how much you build it up underneath the eye, but it never looks heavy. I almost always use an under eye corrector underneath my concealers, but it always interacts well with anything I use underneath it. It wears well throughout the day. It's just a beautiful product that I can't stop wearing and I can't stop talking about. Now, this is a product from Dior that I have not talked about enough. I may have only talked about it once just because, you know, I try out so many different products, but I use it in my life and I think it's so stunningly beautiful. This is the Nude Luminizer. It's even got the word nude embossed, and I feel like that should be going away with the number of times that I've used it. If you're someone who wants just kind of an invisible highlight, this will give that to you. It's not going to shine from outer space, but look at how beautifully that just slid onto the skin. It's so pretty, and it's that perfect champagne shade. You know, when you get to be a certain age, you kind of shy away from certain types of highlighters, certain types of textures, because they're going to emphasize your own texture and make it look not so good. This is not one of those products. This is a safe highlighter to use. It's very natural and almost gives a dewy look to the skin. It looks glossy and pretty, which is what I like my highlighters to look like. This is an underrated product that I think is completely worth it. Now, I discovered this product over the last couple of months and I'm regretting not trying it sooner. Now, if you follow me, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about this, so I will link the video down below where I talk about this more in depth if you do want to see more on it. But this is the Dior Backstage Eye Palette in warm neutrals. I didn't get this for a while because I just thought it was kind of boring and I have a lot of neutral palettes. I mean, I'm a neutrals girl, but I heard enough people talking about it that I finally caved and I'm glad I did. It is so blendable and easy. This is a no-brainer eyeshadow palette. I thought that this primer was a waste of an eyeshadow spot, but it's really not. It's so convenient to have an eyeshadow primer right here and to not have to reach for something separate if you're in a hurry. It's called warm neutrals, but I find that you can get a completely neutral look with it or a warm look. It's become a go-to palette for me, not just from Dior, but in life. Getting a theme here. Now, this is a product from Dior that I don't talk about enough, and I don't wear it enough, but every time I wear it, I fall back in love with it. This is the Dior Air Flash Spray Foundation. I do have a foundation review on this. I'll link that down below. It's from a while back, but you know, it's out there. This is stunningly beautiful on the skin. Now, it's not the longest wearing foundation. I don't love it in super heat or humidity or for ridiculously long days, but for a normal day or for an event, it's gorgeous. Now, I don't spray it on my face. I spray it on a sponge and then apply it, but man, it gives skin-like coverage, gorgeous coverage. It's just beautiful. It truly meshes with the skin. It's not gonna last as long as the Dior Backstage Face and Body, but if you're wanting to, you know, look like a Hollywood star for an event, this is gonna do that. So I hadn't planned on putting Bare Minerals in this first video. I didn't think I had that many favorites, but when I was listing out products for each of these brands, I surprised myself. I actually had a hard time narrowing down Bare Minerals products for this video. So I did eventually narrow it down to 5, and the first one are these Bounce and Blur blushes. Now I do love the regular Gen Nude powder blushes. Those are phenomenal for long-lasting, beautiful blushes too. So just know I like those too. But this blush formula is so unique, it needed to be in this video. It's got a creaminess to it, but they're not wet or greasy. They're kind of it's kind of a dry cream, and you apply it and it kind of turns into this powder formula that does set down and gives this beautiful soft radiance. I mean, do you see how sheer that is? And that's what's beautiful about these, is that you can apply them so sheer that they just look like your skin, like you're just naturally giving off that beautiful glow. So that was the shade Coral Cloud, and this is Pink Sky, which looks like it's going to give this obnoxious wash of color, but it's subtle and you can build it if you want more. You cannot mess these up. You just can't, and they look gorgeous. They just give a lift, a radiance. You know, if you're someone who is wanting a truly flattering blush, which is important as we get older, these are gonna do it for you. And if you're someone who's scared of cream products, liquid products, these are kind of a hybrid between a cream and a powder. You could apply these with a brush if you wanted to, but they give you that natural look of a cream without being intimidating, like a cream or a liquid can be for a lot of people. I've talked in the past about these Gen Nude eyeshadow palettes. I think they're completely underrated. So this is Copper. It's so pretty and different, yet still neutral and wearable. I just like that pop of green. And this is Rose, and this is Neutral, even though I think this should be named Neutral and this should be named Rose. The quality of these palettes is phenomenal. They blend out easily. They wear beautifully during the day. The mattes are creamy. The shimmers blend out beautifully and just, you know, look like you want a shimmer to look on the lid. They don't emphasize anything bad. And I mean, if you want something that is easy to pull out, easy to travel with, compact, yet gives you a lot, these are it. They're so underrated. I'm really picky about concealer, and I've talked so many times on my channel about the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Stick Concealer. I think this is supposed to have 16-hour wear. It's also supposed to be waterproof. Now, I have tested that out, and I find it does function really well if you do happen to get wet or swim or live in a hot and humid climate. I don't like mini stick concealers, and this is one that I just really like, but I don't really like to apply it straight from the stick. I like to take my finger in it like so, and then apply it underneath my eye. I find the warmth of my finger just really helps. So I've said before that this is one of the under eye concealers that I like to wear when I'm wearing powder foundation. It's also one that I like to take on very casual trips with me. It blends out easily, it looks natural, and it wears well throughout the day. I recently put the Bare Minerals Primetime eyeshadow primer in an underrated products video. I'll have that linked below. We just moved, and I'm not quite sure where I put that because I'm going through another eyeshadow primer right now. I have it somewhere, so I'm just going to put it up here on the screen. But this is an eyeshadow primer that stays in my rotation for a reason. A little bit goes a long way. It evens out the eyelids just a little bit, but it really locks down. It prevents your eyeshadow from creasing. It just helps it wear longer throughout the day. As I get older, especially, I find I have to have an eyeshadow primer for my eyeshadows to apply the way they should, last the way they should, and to not crease. And not all eyeshadow primers are created equally, and this one just works beautifully. This is the Bare Minerals Mineralist Hydra Smoothing Lipstick, and I just love this formula. Now, I did pull one shade to focus on. Oh, no pun intended, but it is called Focus. This is just a great neutral. I do have other shades, but this is the one that I reach for the most. So actually, I think I'm going to take off what I have on and I'll put this on instead. This is a very creamy, hydrating, nourishing lipstick formula. There's great ingredients in here. And while it's creamy, it lasts a decent amount of time for a bullet lipstick too. So you can see this is a little less shiny than what I had on before, but it's not too matte either. It just feels really good on the lips and it's flattering. And I don't feel like it's going to come off the second I start to eat or something like that. This is also another underrated product that I think is just phenomenal from Bare Minerals. I have loved Laura Mercier for years, double-digit years. I want to say maybe 20 something years. I had a really hard time narrowing down products, but I did narrow it down to just 5. The first one of those is the Flawless Lumiere Radiance Perfecting Foundation. Now, this is probably the first radiant foundation that I fell in love with. I have oily combination skin. Now, I do have surface dehydration now because I'm using prescription tretinoin, but when I tried this for the first time, I wasn't using that and I didn't have any surface dehydration. Pretty much every other radiant foundation I had tried made me look greasy really quickly, or it wore away really fast during the day. Because I make my own radiance during the day, I really don't need any extra help. This was the first one that gave me that radiant look and didn't make me greasy looking with it. If I do get shiny with it, it's not oily, greasy shine. I am so sorry. The sun is just doing a number on me today while I'm filming. The clouds are just in and out, and I have this big window in front of me. I don't know how that's coming across on camera. It's just a hazard of filming in front of a window. This is a beautiful product that gives me medium to medium full coverage. It blurs the pores. It looks beautiful and truly flattering on the skin, and it lasts a long time too. I mean, I think this is great across all skin types. It's one of my favorite foundations. The Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Highlight 01 is probably one of my holy grail highlighters. I talked about the Dior and I love that one, but this one I feel like just takes highlighters to a whole other level, and especially with the amount of product you get in here. This is one of those highlighters that, you know, if you're scared of highlighter, if you're scared it's gonna look too highlightery, too sparkly, this is not one that you have to be afraid of, but it will help lift the high points of your face that, you know, start to sag as we get older, and just help them look naturally lifted, naturally glowy. There are different shades of this. I prefer 01 for my skin tone. Holy grail status here. I just don't even know if I'll ever run out of it because of how much there is in here, and I appreciate that for the price point too. And Laura Mercier has great quality products, which leads me to her blush formula. These are the Blush Color Infusion blushes. The shade that I have on today is called Passion Fruit. I love this shade. It's beautiful. It's just kind of a cross between a coral and a pink and a peach that I think is so flattering on so many skin tones. These last a long time on the skin and they just look so flattering. I can't even narrow down shades for you because I have so many of these. So I'm just focusing on Passion Fruit because that's my choice for today. But if you want a formula that is just soft and creamy feeling when you take your finger through it, I mean, you can tell that that is buildable. I am someone who does not want just a big blob of color on my cheek right away that I have to really buff out. And this gives me that beautiful buildable wash of color that just looks good all day. I don't know why I resisted trying the Flawless Fusion Concealer for so long. I guess I just felt like I had other good concealers and I didn't need another one, but I don't know, here we are. I love this concealer. I think it's fantastic. It's another great, really natural looking concealer. Definitely a strong product for Laura Mercier, especially if you have dry textured under eyes. Now I find because I have a better color match in the Dior concealer, most days I use the Dior as my first layer and then I go in with this shade 1C, which is too light for me, and I'll put it just in the darkest points and in my outer corner where I have some redness, just a tiny bit to try and lift those hollows. I've really been enjoying that. It layers really well over other concealers. I've actually touched up with it during the day and it layers well over powder too. It's a great multitasking product in that way. Now I didn't do it today, which is why I'm looking a little bit dark. This is a fantastic medium full coverage concealer that is great for those of us who, you know, aren't in our 20s anymore and need a good flattering concealer underneath the eyes. I have a lot of Laura Mercier caviar sticks, a lot. I'll put my most used shades down below in the description box, but it would be obnoxious for me to sit here and swatch all the shades that I love. To me, the reason why these are so popular and why so many of us reach for these over and over on a daily basis is because they glide on so easily and smudge if you like to smudge your eyeliner or your eyeshadow beautifully. They give you time to work with them before they set down. Now, if you've used these and you have problems with them creasing, apply them over an eyeshadow primer. They last throughout the day and they look beautiful and they don't dry down in a weird way to where they're unflattering or make your eyelids crinkle up. If you're a little bit on the mature side, they just are gorgeous. Now, I will say that Tuxedo and Cocoa are two shades that I keep on top of my vanity so that I can use them as eyeliner or to deepen up other shades. These are just two that I will never be without ever. There's just so many different types of eye crayons, eye pencils now at this point in time, and these have stuck around and have been so popular for so long for good reason. The first NARS product that I want to talk about is the Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This is a fantastic concealer for the face, in my opinion. I just can't use this under the eyes because it is soft matte, which is not good for underneath my dry textured under eye area, but it applies to the face so beautifully and subtly, yet covers well and lasts on the skin. This is my staple face concealer when I'm not using a multitasker like Dior that I can use on the eyes and the face. And I have been on the same pot for the longest time. I'm not sure if it's ever gonna run out, but I do have a backup ready to go for when it does. I adore this concealer. I'm in the shade Canal, if you're wondering what my shade is. I was recently reminded how much I love this foundation. I do have a review on it. I'll link that below. This is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. We have a theme with the soft matte. They did such a great job with this launch. Was this last year? I'm usually in Fiji or Punjab and other NARS foundations, but I'm in Santa Fe in this. I find it runs a little bit lighter than other NARS foundations, so that's just something to note. A little bit of this goes a long way. But if you want something that can go from medium full to full coverage, that blends out beautifully and minimizes pores and looks really good on the skin, not like you're wearing something full coverage and that lasts beautifully throughout the day, this is gonna give that to you. I just find it to be one of my favorite medium to full coverage foundations, and I'm pretty picky with those because I don't usually wear full coverage foundation. It is the foundation that I have on today, and I just think it looks really nice. Now, I have had my makeup on for a really long time and I've been sweating, so take that for what you will, but I think it looks beautiful and it also feels good. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin, which is really important to me. I have another NARS face product here that I think is fantastic. I think they do overall a great job with face products. And I was realizing that as I was narrowing my NARS products down. So this is the NARS Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. Let me put it over here on the white side of my screen so it's not against that black dresser and you can actually see it. So they did a relaunch of this year, and I'm really glad they did because I tried it for the first time and I love this. This looks so natural on the skin and it is radiant, but it's not too radiant. On my skin, it just gives a soft radiance. I don't get too greasy with it. It lasts really well throughout the day. I was surprised at how much I really liked this when I first tried it. I've worn it many times since. It also feels really good on the skin. I just am so sad I did not try this sooner. I have another cream bronzer that launched recently and it's fantastic. Now, I had said in a recent video that if you didn't try because it was too expensive, the Chanel bronzer, or if you didn't want to try the new formulation but liked the old one and were looking for kind of a substitute, this might be something you want to try. It's very creamy, it's very smooth, it blends out like butter, it builds easily, and it lasts all day. And the shade Laguna, which is what I just swatched there, is a nice neutral shade. You don't have to choose that shade. It works great for my skin tone, but I think if you're looking for a cream bronzer, this is a great option. If you're looking for something that's good for all skin types, this or the Tarte, either one would work really, really well. My intent was to come on here with the Afterglow lip shines and talk about how much I love them, but I realized they were limited edition, which is the same reason I'm not talking about the Orgasm on the Beach palette that I'm in love with right now that I talked about in my May monthly favorites. I'll link that video down below. So I am going to link both of those products because I think they're fabulous, even though they are a limited edition. I mean, if you want to get them, get your hands on them, but these are so beautiful on the lips and they hydrate and they nourish and moisturize and give great color and all that good stuff. But the oil infused lip tints and the Afterglow lip balms are both fantastic. NARS is doing lip products in such a good way lately. I don't think you could go wrong with anything, especially if you're like me and you're really liking those sheer products that also give lip benefits while you wear them. You can't go wrong purchasing any one of these from NARS. I will have my monthly favorites and fails linked down below if you haven't seen it because I did have so many good products in that video. Let me know in the comments below if you do want to see another one of these, and if so, do you just want me to do kind of a mixture of high and low end? Do you want me to dedicate it to all drugstore? I always look at your feedback when I'm deciding what I'm going to do for my videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!